For a closer look at what Americans are thinking about the war in Ukraine, we go to CBS News Elections and Surveys Director Anthony Salvanto. Good morning to you, Anthony.
Good morning, Margaret.
You know, some of the biggest news of the week was the Biden administration's decision finally to put a block on imports of Russian petroleum products into the United States. So they admit it is going to make things more expensive for consumers. What did Americans think about that?
Margaret, there is wide support for oil sanctions against Russia, and something we don't get to say every day, it is bipartisan. In fact, really strong with both Democrats and Republicans. But importantly, in a poll you want to follow up and ask people then, what if that means you're going to pay more at the pump? And when you do that, majority support remains at 63%. Now, this is something we'll have to watch. It might depend on just how much those prices rise, but you ask people why it is that they support the sanctions, and it's not that they say they can readily afford it. It's that they say they want to help Ukraine and punish Russia. Margaret?
But inflation is already at a new 40-year high. So just how tolerant are people going to be?
Well, what happens is people feel like Russia is not going to stop at Ukraine. There's 69% who think that Russia is going to invade other countries. And they're concerned about a wider war. They're concerned about a global recession. And when you look at the folks who are most concerned about that, they're even more likely to support the oil sanctions. So you read this sense that people might be willing to pay more now in order to try to stop or avoid something worse later, Margaret.
Anthony, how do Americans assess the president's leadership during this crisis?
Well, his handling of it is up over the last week, but it's still not net positive. A couple of reasons for that. One is people say they still feel nervous about this. And secondly, there's half the country that says they want him to take stronger action towards Russia. So we followed up and we asked, well, what would be stronger action? And the things that pop out are even stronger sanctions and supplying more military weapons to Ukraine. We also looked at the idea of enforcing a no-fly zone. And here you see Americans' real wariness about getting into a wider war. Because in the abstract, you get a majority that says, yes, they'd support a no-fly zone. But then you follow up and ask, well, what if Russia takes that as an act of war? What if that leads to a direct U.S.-Russia conflict? And then support really drops off down to 38%. So you see Americans wanting to do something, wanting to stop Russia, but really concerned about being drawn in to a conflict, Margaret.
Anthony Salvanto, thank you. We'll be right back.